We begin today by recognizing the heartbeat of this platform, you, our loyal fans and dedicated viewers. Your voices, your passion, and your unwavering support are what make Lucky G News more than just a news outlet. You make it a community. Every click, every share, every comment fuels our mission to bring you the stories that matter most. Lucky G News is here to keep you informed, engaged, and inspired. So sit back, stay tuned, and let's journey together through the stories that define our times. This is not just news, this is your news, our news, Lucky G News. South Africa's immigration debate is reaching a critical juncture as the nation braces for the planned demonstrations on the 30th of June 2026, organized under the banner of the March and March movement and its rallying cry, "Put South Africans First." What initially began as localized frustration over undocumented migration has now escalated into a nationwide political and social confrontation, drawing in civic organizations, government officials, law enforcement agencies, and ordinary citizens from across the country. This report examines the mounting tension surrounding the upcoming protest, highlighting the increasingly forceful messages from civic movements and the measured responses from government authorities. At the heart of the debate are pressing issues such as border control, immigration enforcement, unemployment, crime, and the strain on public services, all of which dominate the national conversation. The video component further contrasts the urgency expressed by citizens demanding immediate action with the government's insistence that the rule of law and constitutional order must remain paramount, even in the face of public frustration. Key voices in this unfolding narrative include Jacinta Ngobi Zuma, Angie Motshekga, and representatives of the March and March movement, whose statements reflect the growing pressure ahead of the June deadline.
Until the 30th of June to give us a map of how they are going to deal with the issue of illegal immigration. I don't think any of us are stupid to think that all of them will be gone. Of course not. But we are encouraging them to go before the 30th of June. Because what we know is that the kind of illegal immigrants that we have here think they are more South African than South Africans. If you tell them about their home countries, they get very angry. If you remind them that they're not South African, they get very furious. They can even kill you if you remind them, hey, when you're a Nigerian or when you're a Zimbabwean, then they call you self-hate, you are xenophobic, you are for all of this, right? So there's two types of immigrants that we are dealing with. There's those that we know will self-deport. We know those ones. They're most of the time just innocent people who are just coming here to just make a living, etc., etc. And those will go. They're not going to give much of a problem. But the ones that will stay are the ones that are the biggest problem. Those are the ones that require the intensity of the government, that require the intensity of South Africans. And that's why we're going to intensify our pushback to government, our pressure to the government. And all those who always say, you're always fighting immigrants and immigrants are innocent. There's not a single innocent person who comes into the country illegally. There's nothing innocent about that. So they are just as much to blame as our government for coming into our country illegally. And we are really urging government to go to these embassies and start those conversations. Start telling those embassies to collect their illegal immigrants and ask them to leave the country.
They want to march on the 30th, it's fine because it's within their rights to do so. But within those rights, it's to also remind each other to say it's a constitutional right to which within the framework of the law, only police can ask for identity from people, not any other citizen that goes about and says bus and not bus. So to really confirm that they have the right to. So when they say watch the space, I'm saying if the whole country can come out, it's allowed. There are steps that have to be followed. You have to notify the police, they have to plan with you, you must have marshals. So it's not as if really you have to watch the space because it's legal. So there's nothing to watch for. It's legal. It just has to be done properly. So there's no need to hide and to panic and say, watch the space. It's there, it's legal. So there's nothing I'm saying it should really cause lots of anxiety, but let's just do it properly so that, as the minister is saying, we can protect the marchers, we can blend properly, we can ensure that we protect property, but also not take law unto ourselves, because it's only law enforcement officers who have the right and responsibility to be asking for identities of people. So people should not work outside them, and that's what I was saying. And I was saying to them, there's nothing which makes us fight with South Africans. There'll be a march on the 30th, there'll be the 1st of July, which would still force us together as South Africans to pick up the pieces and work together to build our country. And that's what I was saying, not that I was underestimating or undermining the fact that there's the 30th. I was saying it's fine, it's in the law. Let's do it properly. So I thought I should just raise it. Minister will speak.
Look, if our government was serious, and in actual fact, if intelligence and president advisory team were smart, they would just understand this is their chance to come up with a plan and roll out a plan in avoiding whatever they think it is going to be. Not them preparing themselves to fight their own citizens, to go as far as threatening to bring soldiers inland. The very same soldiers that are in those borders that people are crossing from, and they do nothing about. And they want to tell the citizens, they're going to put SANDF upon you. You know, so until the 30th, government, if our eThekwini mayor was able to verify 457 number of people in 2 hours, there's a lot that the whole South African government can do in 2 days when it comes to this illegal immigration issue in South Africa. So from now until the 30th of June, the good question is that what is government willing to do? Not much and much.
And I'm actually going to ask this. What is March and March willing to do? And a lot of people have been asking this question on social media. If indeed they don't respond to those various calls that you've been making, a lot of people talking about the 30th of June, what lies ahead then for March and March as a response to government not responding by the 30th of June and possibly the president not addressing?
Let me rather put the people in the spots. March and March is not a group of people. March and March is South Africans. So are you asking South Africans what are they willing to do in order for them to live well in their country? You know, it's another question. So, but the nicest thing is, since we started, we've been trying to put pressure on our government. All we do is to put pressure on our government. Whatever move happens, we're putting pressure on our own government, because the Constitution speaks about the will of the people. So the will of the people now says, it's enough. We've got too many, if they're not more than us inside the country of these immigrants. We've had too much. So the people are saying, please cut off. Stop taking. When do you refuse refugee status? When do you refuse a business visa? You know, when do we limit the visitors in the country? Is South Africa taking anything and everything that comes and making it legit for the country? So what we've been doing and how we've been doing it, after the 30th, should our demands are not met, we're going to keep doing it, but we're going to accelerate it. But what are we accelerating? It's pressure on our government. Because for us, it's the only people that we can speak to that can bring about change. Because remember, when we go vote them to make our lives better, our kids' lives better. The future of the country will be sustainable. So we're going to accelerate putting pressure on our government. Quote me right, putting pressure on our government, because the departments and everyone are the ones that have power.
Government that is itching for violence. I think for them it's an opportunity to test their powers, because if they wanted to deal with crime and deal with violence and deal with all the problems that we have in the country, all that excitement that they have, they could have used it right now. We're dealing with a lot of crimes and criminals and organized crimes, but I've never seen them so excited to unleash the military. So if our demands are not met, we'll see.
The atmosphere around South Africa's immigration debate has shifted dramatically. What was once discussed mostly in political speeches, isolated protests, or social media arguments has now evolved into a nationwide conversation touching communities, parliament, civic movements and government structures alike. Across the country, emotions are rising, tensions are visible, and uncertainty continues to grow ahead of the planned 30th of June demonstrations linked to the March and March movement under the banner Put South Africans First. This latest chapter intensified after yesterday's State of the Nation address-style gathering hosted by the March and March movement on the 25th of May 2026. During that gathering, movement leaders, activists and supporters delivered strong messages directed at undocumented migrants, government institutions and political leadership. At the same time, critics, analysts and government officials also responded with warnings and counter-arguments, turning the issue into one of the most debated national discussions currently dominating public discourse in South Africa. But while supporters of the movement say they are speaking for frustrated citizens, critics continue to warn that the rhetoric surrounding illegal immigration could fuel division, panic and instability if not handled responsibly. Government ministers are also now stepping in publicly, issuing warnings about what citizens can and cannot do during protests linked to the upcoming 30th of June demonstrations. And now the entire nation appears to be standing in a moment of uncertainty. Supporters are calling it accountability. Critics are calling it a dangerous escalation. But one thing is undeniable, South Africa is talking about this issue every single day. Government is effectively saying protest legally, but do not cross into law enforcement territory. Meanwhile, many frustrated citizens are responding by saying if law enforcement had acted properly over the years, communities would not feel forced to apply pressure themselves. That contrast is extremely important because it reveals a growing crisis of public trust. Large sections of society no longer believe government institutions are acting decisively enough on border management and undocumented migration. And once trust in institutions begins to weaken, civic movements naturally become louder, more emotional and more confrontational. But government also faces a difficult balancing act. Authorities must protect constitutional rights and prevent unlawful behavior, while simultaneously addressing genuine public frustrations that are clearly growing nationwide. What is happening now is bigger than politics alone. This is about governance, public trust, economic pressure, unemployment, social stability, and the perception that systems meant to protect citizens are no longer functioning effectively.
Because it's not enough to say immigration, unregulated immigration is not a problem. If when your child is sick, you go to med clinic, as I do, yes, it's not a problem. But if you're going to a crowded clinic in the rural areas, it's a different story, or in the township, it's a different story. If you had a spaza shop, but suddenly there are better people with more resources that are running spaza shop, it is a problem for you. If you're looking for a job and restaurants won't take you, as if there's an invisible sign there that says no South Africans aligned, it is a problem for you. So unregulated immigration and employers who pay less to undocumented immigrants are a problem.
Foreign nationals in South Africa is deeply appalling. South Africa is currently on the verge of a collapse. The economy is crumbling, there are no resources left for South Africans, and there's certainly not enough resources for foreign nationals. We therefore cannot allow this to continue while our people continue to suffer. The government has, in the 2026-2027 financial year, budgeted and allocated 292.8 billion rands for social grants. This confirms that many South Africans are dependent on social grants, which highlights the scale of urgency of the problem, because South Africa is a welfare state. Majority of foreign nationals that are in South Africa are not real refugees. These are economic migrants who have and continue to abuse our laws. They have taken over the informal economy, colluded with Home Affairs officials in creating fraudulent documents to bring their countrymen into our country.
Welcome back to Lucky G News. South Africans are standing firm on their demand for a June 30th deadline, while the government continues to caution citizens against taking the law into their own hands. Officials stress that only the state has the authority to verify the identity of foreign nationals, urging everyone to respect legal processes and constitutional order. Thank you for tuning in. Your support means everything. Don't forget to like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comment section, and of course, subscribe to stay updated with the latest developments from South Africa. Until next time, stay informed and stay connected. See you soon.